And next up at UFC 327, we've got Kevin the Trailblazer Holland taking on Randy Rude Boy Brown. And I got to say, this is a fun matchup here. Obviously, both guys renowned for their height and length in this division. And I think it's tough, picking against Kevin Holland. He's got great jiu-jitsu, that Travis Luda background in the jiu-jitsu. He's always live for a submission, ever entertaining, great on the mic. And I'm a big fan of Kevin Holland. And it pains me to say this, but give me Randy Rude Boy Brown here. I think that both guys can have success on the feet. I think Randy Brown stays a little bit more composed on the feet. Obviously, both guys are going to be very long for the division and not something that I think either guy is used to kind of coming up against. But I think Randy Brown's a little bit lighter on his feet, a little bit more athletic. I think Kevin Holland tends to stay a little bit more planted on his feet and want to land big bombs and kind of trade. And I think the one deciding factor here for me is that Randy Brown can actually fall back on wrestling if he needs to. And we see in a lot of Kevin Holland fights that he tends to struggle with those grapplers and the guys that want to look to take him down. I don't necessarily think that Randy Brown's going to be able to take Kevin Holland down and control him for long periods of this fight. I think Kevin Holland, if he does get taken down, will show urgency to get back to his feet, looking to kind of sweep omoplatas and, kind of maybe going for Kimuras in order to create scrambles to get back to his feet. But it's just something for Kevin Holland to worry about. I think that Kevin, will stand and trade with Randy Brown and want a back and forth exchange. I think Randy Brown will definitely oblige. He'll definitely want to trade with Kevin Holland, but I just think he can stay a little bit more controlled on the feet, throw more linear shots where Kevin Holland might spin. He might want to kind of get a little crazy in there, make it a back and forth brawl. And obviously Kevin's on a two-fight skid himself, where obviously wants to get back in the win column, but you can never rely on Kevin Holland to do exactly what he's supposed to do in his matchups. But I'm going to say that Randy Brown, is a guy that can definitely mix in some grappling. I think he could fall back on that and at least to give Kevin Holland something to think about. And I think that both guys can pack a punch, but I just think that Randy Brown has a better timing and better footwork in order to be able to set those shots up. So give me Randy Brown in order to get this one done. Carlos, who you got in this one, brother?
As much as I like Kevin Holland, I'm going to go with Randy Brown in this one. And I think he's going to get it done basically because he's a very technical fighter. He's got a boxing heavy attack, but he does mix in some kicks. And in the clinch, he's down to use some elbows, knees, anything to soften up his opponents against the cage. I just think if the fight was a little wilder, Holland would have a chance because he needs the fight to be just a little hectic, a little back and forth action, and he needs to catch it because the way that he likes to fight is there's nothing very technical. He doesn't fight behind the jab. He doesn't use his reach. He kind of just wings punches out there every once in a while. He throws a jab but doesn't use it to his advantage. He'll lead with his rear hand. He sometimes tends to wing punches and crow hop into some of his punches. So I like him. I think he can, if he can get this fight to the ground, I think he could be very dangerous. But Kevin Holland's wrestling is not the best. There's not the number one ability that he has. And he can't really stop takedowns very well or get good takedowns. But if he was able to get this to the ground, I think he'd have a lot of success against Randy Brown. Randy Brown stays technical, boxing heavy attack, stays compact. His shots are short, tight. And I think if he can keep this technical, not get into a firefight with Holland, he can keep this. He can get the decision because a lot of times Kevin, once you stay technical, he tends to be a little wilder, leave openings, and guys will exploit them. So I'm going to go with that. I think Randy Brown wins, but I'm not confident because Randy Brown does get tired later, and Kevin Holland, his cardio's there. He can land big shots, and if he can land one, he can get this one done. But as he fought against Rodriguez was able to catch him because Holland has a lot of openings when he's throwing. His defense isn't there. And I think Randy Brown can exploit that just like D-Rod did. So I'm going to go with Randy Brown to get it done. I'm not confident, but I think he can get this one done.